I prioritized my partner over my best friend. She thinks I betrayed her.
Well, she should find a new friend, I guess.
I, 31 male, met my best friend Veronica, female 46, 6 years ago. We clicked instantly. She was the best friend I always wanted as a teenager. We became sisters, quote unquote. I am queer. She met me right at the beginning of her separation from her cheating husband, and she was a stay-at-home wife until then. By the way, this comes from user VariousPrize5954, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So we were calling and messaging every day, spending a lot of time together, cooking, going out, partying, having sleepovers, watching movies, and so on. We were everywhere together, making plans for vacations, weekends, and more. Back then, I didn't have much of a dating life, and every time I tried something, it didn't last long. So once we became friends, I didn't have much chance to spend my time differently than with Veronica and some other friends. However, I felt she was becoming very dependent on me, and I encouraged her to get a job and make new friends, as this was what was best for her. I felt responsible for her well-being. I grew up taking care of my younger sister, so this is probably the reason, and I didn't like the feeling of her social life being dependent on me. We made a little group of friends where I spent a lot of time, and she got a job and met other people. I was still her main person and her best friend, and she was still mine. I was next to her all this time during the separation from her husband, helping her get over it and making her suffering much easier just by being me, making her laugh, calling her every day after work, staying with her on the phone for hours when she didn't feel well. Even when she had her period, I had to show support and endure all her tantrums, for which she didn't apologize because she didn't admit she was wrong. Buying her flowers or presents for different occasions, or just randomly when I was visiting her. I wanted her to feel special and to show my appreciation. Also, she was a good friend to me, taking care of me and showing up when I was sick or needed to talk to someone or was just disappointed in love. Things that best friends would do. Things were good for 3 years. Things started to change when I met my current boyfriend. We've been together for 3.5 years. She didn't like him from the beginning, just like that. They didn't click, and I think that's fine, which, okay. Yeah, you should think that's fine because that's not her boyfriend.
She's not dating him. She's not dating him. It's fine.
They were respectful to each other and still had a good time when we were together partying, but never friends. Good. But once I met my boyfriend, Aaron, I liked to spend my time with him more and more. We made friends together, which I really liked to spend time with. But at the same time, I started to meet less and less with my other group of friends where Veronica was. Also, Veronica. She was still part of my life, and I met her every week. We were calling and messaging every day. I was more in contact with her than with my boyfriend, but I was spending my weekends with him. She said multiple times, why don't I invite her to the home parties where I was going? I tried a few times, but she was never easygoing. She had demands of the host or was being too loud, and I was tied to her. I couldn't decide to go home or do something else because she couldn't be left alone there. She asked me to stay with her a few good hours until she felt okay to go home. After all of this, I didn't want to invite her anymore. Yeah, I wouldn't either because it's like, what are you, a chaperone?
Yeah.
She started to complain more and more that we don't spend weekends together anymore as we used to, that we don't plan vacations, etc. I felt like I was in another relationship and actually had a girlfriend. She started to feel more and more depressed, and no matter what, I had to stay on the phone with her until she felt better. The issue is that many times she didn't say anything, but expected me to understand just like that. All of a sudden, I would realize she wasn't answering anymore. She was silent, treating me for days or weeks. When we started to discuss again, she would expect me to apologize, and if I asked what for, she would start to be passive-aggressive. Later on, when she told me she didn't feel well, she expected me to show up immediately. A few hours later wouldn't be good enough because she felt bad at that moment. These kinds of moments would happen every week or two. Now, looking back, I think it was only manipulation for attention. We had a lot of fights where we decided that we couldn't be friends anymore or couldn't be close friends anymore because I couldn't keep up with her expectations of me showing up in the relationship the way she wanted. Basically, I was the best friend she could ever wish for, her words, but it was still not enough. She couldn't explain. She wanted someone to share her life with, and I wasn't that person anymore. She even admitted that the real problem was that I didn't give her the attention I used to in the beginning. However, I tried to explain that friendships change, in my opinion, and people can grow apart.
And also, I think friendships are kind of like waves a little bit.
But we are still in each other's lives. We're in contact every day, and we know what's happening with our lives, and we are there for each other to support. This is what friendship is to me. Even at that point, I was still more in contact with her than with my partner, whom she often pretended didn't exist. Finally, she confessed she was in love with me.
Yep.
But dang, I was so wrong when I thought we could still be friends. It became more toxic, but I did my best to have empathy and compassion and help her move on. She couldn't understand that what she wanted from me was actually a boyfriend, and I couldn't give her that. She was gaslighting me, saying that her expectations, like calling her in the middle of the night because she felt sick due to her period or felt down for no reason, or making plans like we were living together, were actually friend level, and I was wrong when I felt that a boyfriend would take such responsibilities. Last year, 2023, my partner was away for a year in Australia. Also, things between me and Veronica got worse. I was still not able to meet her on weekends as she wanted, and she didn't feel important enough to me. Therefore, she told me we were done August 2023. We couldn't be close friends anymore, and we couldn't have a relationship anymore, but only with some other friends when the case deemed it appropriate. I accepted these conditions. Later on, a month later in September, I decided to go on a day trip with another friend. She mentioned the date when she would be celebrating her birthday, sometime in December. I told her that I wouldn't be able to come because I bought a ticket to visit Aaron, my boyfriend, and also have a vacation there. She knew how much I was waiting for the moment to visit my partner. I was able to meet him only twice before that trip due to long distance. I live in Germany. Oh, wow. I explained how important the trip was for me and how much of an opportunity and once-in-a-lifetime occasion it was. We decided to go to New Zealand. She didn't take it well and instantly zoned out. She called me later that evening telling me that I knew how important her birthday was to her. I knew that, but also that trip was very important to me, but she didn't care. I want to mention that every year since I met her, I made her birthday really special. I put effort into finding out what she really wanted every year in such a way that she could never suspect that I would actually get it. She was surprised every time. I would spend the whole weekend with her and make her favorite cake together, which takes 3 to 4 hours. Stay until the end of the party every time and clean up her flat, even sleep there and wake up with her and have breakfast.
Dude, you're boyfriending too hard.
I convinced the people that were planning on coming, they could come and stay or leave the party when they wanted, all so she could feel special and celebrate it. But this one time I couldn't be there, she decided to come to my door, ring the bell continuously, and call and message me to open the door. She needed 5 minutes to discuss. She showed up unannounced, and I didn't open. Yeah, that's not how you show up to talk to people.
Nope. You call. Say ring ring, hello.
A few days later, I invited her to discuss, but she didn't want that. Her goal was to interrogate me. When did I get my ticket? Why didn't I consult with her before? Why the dates when she was celebrating her birthday? She wanted to make a story in her mind, and she believes I intentionally picked the dates so I couldn't come to her celebration. Although she was clear from before that we were not close anymore, she still had expectations from me.
She's like, you're not my best friend anymore, but also I have the same expectations that I did from before.
With that being said, she told me this was a deal breaker for her. Knowing how important her birthday was to her and deciding to go on vacation with my partner, that's the deal breaker.
Ay, ay, ay.
Before going on vacation, I went with flowers for her birthday, and she complained that I just gave her the present, but no emotion. I didn't even stay to talk, I just left after 10 minutes. Later, I realized that I was rewarding her behavior, like in many other past situations, because I am a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Now, 1 month after her birthday, it's my birthday.
What? No way.
No way. You have a birthday, OP?
And I bet she did all the same things for you, right?
And she is traveling the date I want to party. I made the invitation in the friend group, and she said twice that she couldn't attend that weekend, indicating which weekend she was free. Now it's been a few months since the celebration, and mostly my friends are actually on her side, saying that her expectation that I would call Veronica before booking my flight to double check with her that it's okay that I won't be in town for her party. I don't find this to be right. Also, I understood that in her mind, we were still besties and I would have had the responsibility to be present on her birthday. If I was still best friends, then most probably I would have called her to inform her before booking my ticket, but we were not. We had discussions where I clearly stated that I don't want to be put in that category because I can't fulfill that role anymore. Yeah, and she said she's in love with you, dog.
Yeah, and she said she's in love with you.
Even so, honestly, every year I made her birthday special. That I could think I could have gotten a little bit of understanding, but she chose not to. Also, she didn't like the fact that I booked my ticket in August and I only told her about it at the end of September. And in her opinion, I was a mischievous coward. Wow.
Were those the words she used? You're a mischievous coward.
I was scared of her reaction, and I wanted to wait for the right time to give her the news, knowing that no matter what, it won't be the right approach. Afterwards, she said our friends agreed and were also disappointed that I didn't even propose to change the date of the party, and it showed that I don't actually have any interest in her birthday. If you have interest in listening to full episodes with stories like this one, all you gotta do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio. Wherever you listen to podcasts, just search OK Storytime, and you can have the whole OK Storytime world in your hands. Just in a device, just like that. In my opinion, it was her party, and if she wanted me to be there, she could have proposed to change it. I don't find it right for me to propose that because it was not my party. Yeah, that's the rules of partying. In the exact situation I was in a few years ago, and when I heard some friends were not in town on my weekend party, I proposed to change the date because I wanted them to be next to me. After all this, am I the a-hole for wanting to exclude my best friend from my life and from my birthday party? Well, we've already determined that she's not your best friend.
Yeah.
So
we're good.
yeah, you're fine.
You're good.